Hello again, whiskey friends. I'm Durell, the Whiskey Saint. Thanks for joining for another video. I'm going to switch it up a little bit this time, guys. Past few weeks, I've been doing reviews / like blind tastings on some new stuff. What we're going to do today is talk about my favorite whiskeys of 2023. With a small caveat, it's just going to be the bottles that I own and picked up in 23. So not samples that I've tried that may or may not have been, better than some of these. So just focus on everything that I picked up this year. And I'll tell you, I picked up some banger stuff, man. Some sleeper bottles, some stuff that may be well known out there. But stay tuned. We're going to kick off this show right after this. Cheers. So thanks, guys, for sticking with me. We're going to just dive right in. I got a nice little glass porter, my number one, which we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, like I said, we're going to just mention my top 10. I know Jeff's put his top 10 out there, as well as a top 5 whiskeys, I believe, of under $75, which is interesting, because there's some really, really good stuff that's, under that $100 price point. Like, you don't have to spend, a couple $100 to get something that's really, really good. As you'll see within some of the ones that are on my top 10, some are under $70, some are above 100 as well. But when you factor in value with where these rank and compared to, some of the stuff that we've had this year, and I want to say reviewed 160, 170 bottles already. Some haven't been released in 2023, where there were some prior releases too. So I kept those separate, the ones that may have ranked higher that weren't 2023 releases. But boy, did we taste through a lot of whiskey. Guys, we're going to just dive right in. My number 10 whiskey is a pick out of Nashville. So it's the Nash Tucky line. And this is Lawrence Stash 3. I shot a review on this bottle maybe a month or so ago, along with the Lawrence Stash 2. This bottle, I believe, was $119. It's a 5-year, 127 proof, just banger bottle. Rumored to be Buffalo Trace. This thing was just absolutely killer. And $119. Granted, it is 5 years, but the quality out of that bottle, I'll gladly pay $119 again, even a little more for what you're getting, quality wise out of that. Price for me is not too big of a deal if I think the whiskey warrants it. And in this case, at $119, 120 or so, I think this definitely warrants that price. And for number 9, guys. So every year, I kind of look forward to these bottles. What this one is right here is the Foregate Calvin Collab 5, guys. I haven't had a bad Calvin Collab. My favorite in particular was Batch 2. Which was cognac and rum finish, but every single one of these bottles have been killer, guys. Every single one. This bottle comes in at $199, so it's at that top tier in terms of price, dollar amount. But would I pay $200 again for this bottle? I most certainly will. That quality is just fantastic. We'll take a sip of this number one that we're going to get to in a minute. Such a good bottle. Coming in at number 7, guys. Out of my favorite distillery, we're talking about Heaven Hill. This is ECBP B523, which got a lot of flack from some people. They prefer the A123 over it. I kind of been juggling back and forth, blinded them B1, then A1, then B1 again. So it's been pretty close. But I had ranked this earlier, so I just kept it as this beat A, I think, one extra time. So I just kept that in my list. But, Heaven Hill's my jam, right? These Elijah Craigs, they've been kind of falling off slightly, but they're trying to get back on that grind to where they were. I want them to get back to, the earlier ones, the 17s, the 18s, and 19s. Those were like absolutely fantastic, but we'll see what they do with the C batch. That's supposed to be about 13 years. I'm really, really curious on how that one comes out. So moving along, guys. Number 6. This is a pick out of California, which Mr. Big Vic helped me get. It's a Knob Creek single barrel 9-year, 120 proof like they always are. And they call this one Beam Tack out of the Dram code. So US Liquor X, the Dram code, I believe is the store. But this is a absolutely killer Knob Creek pick. Probably one of the best that I've honestly had. I got a couple picks here, and this thing would probably be top 3 of the knobs that I've tasted, man. Like really good Knob Creek pick. And it's only a 9-year versus some of the 14s and 15s that they had, 3 or 4 years ago. Which I wish they still had them, because those things were absolutely fantastic. But for 9 years, we're going to stick with this one because it is a banger. Moving along, guys, to our number 5. Actually, no, sorry. 10, 9, 8, 7. Number 6. Number 6 coming in. Michter's 10-year for 2023. And we're going to speak on 2023 in general, because that bottle is just absolutely fantastic. That bottle came in, I think it was about $180, scored an 87. And as I can speak on the Knob Creek, that was an 87 as well. Going back, the Elijah Craig 86. So progressively, obviously moving up. But such a good bottle. Way different than the 2022s, the 21s, pretty much every batch that I've had prior. It's got to be some older stuff. They said there's older stuff, but haven't came out exactly how old everything is on it, right? I'm guessing, between like 15 years or so on that bottle in particular. So moving along, guys, to number 5 is a pick that I helped out with. It's called Copper and Cask. It's an 8-year MGP that was aged solely in Florida, then finished in a Weller full-proof barrel. Stellar pick. Probably some of the best MGP that I've had. And this bottle would probably kill like some 8 to 10 to maybe even 12-year-old MGP. Like, this thing is fantastic. And I'm not biased, guys. I shared a bunch of it. A lot of people got bottles, and, everybody agrees that it's a fantastic pick. That came in at a 89, and that bottle was only $65, right? So when you're looking at value, that's like crushing everything in terms of value. Like the dollar amount's so cheap, and it's ranked, almost a 90, which is like stellar for us. So moving along, guys, to number 4 of my top 10. Another one out of Heaven Hill. We're looking at the new Larceny batch, B523, coming in at 124 proof. This bottle was killer. I believe it cost me maybe $69 or so, but it scored a 91, guys. A 91. Larceny for the past 2 years have just been picking up their stuff, and it's been absolutely killer. So moving along, Nash Tucky again. This is the Lawrence Stash 2, guys. So another 5-year, maybe Buffalo Trace at 127 proof. Just banger of a bottle. That bottle, I believe, was a little less than 3, which was 109. I believe it was $109. But just when I first had that, I was like, oh my God, I need as many bottles as I can. But they were sold out. So I'm stuck with the ones that I got. But I'm glad I got one. All right. Moving into number 2 is maybe a distillery that not many heard of. It's called New Holland. I got this pick actually from a buddy of mine, Gary Franchi. It's a rye whiskey, which is probably one of the best ryes that I've ever had. It's got to be probably top 3 for me ever. Like, this thing is absolutely ridiculous. And those who would be going to Pours in the Park, you're probably going to see this after the fact, but I'll be bringing one so a lot of people will get to try the other barrel that I got from them. Stellar rye whiskey. That bottle, I believe, retailed for maybe like $60, 134 proof. It's a 5-year, just incredible. So moving on to my number 1, guys. Coming out of Hard Truth. This is a single barrel that I was able to pick up in the gift shop when I was out there doing a barrel pick with them. And when I tell you, like, a rye whiskey for me being number 1 is absolutely crazy. Like, I love rye, but bourbon's been my jam. This scored a 93. That New Holland scored a 92, which was a rye too, man. Like, these 2 ryes are just absolutely incredible. This single barrel is just insane. Tasting through it, man. Every time I taste it, it's just like, oh my God, I just want to keep drinking it. Stellar whiskey, guys. Oh my goodness. Hard Truth is putting out some crazy stuff, and this thing is only 2 years old. 2 years old. Like, it does not make any sense the quality in the flavor that you're getting out of this whiskey at 2 years. And look at the color. Like, this thing is dark. Like, it's absolutely nuts. But, you know, that's my top 10, guys. We'll probably break it down, maybe do a top 5 similar to what Jeff did. But wanted to put these out there. If you haven't seen some of the brands that I've listed, definitely look into them. And they're putting out some killer stuff. Oh, my God. This this Hard Truth is just insane. The nose, the flavor, and it's that malted rye, man. I'm a sucker for it, man. New Riff kind of spoiled me with some of their malted rye. And Hard Truth going down that sweet mash malted is just killing the game right now. If you guys haven't had any Hard Truth, you gotta try some. Till next time, guys. Cheers.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you